Supporting in Lost Ark. Easy and boring, right? That's not true, or at least it doesn't have to be. I would argue that it has the highest ceiling of any role there is in Lost Ark, and it can be both fun and challenging if you put your heart in it. Just like any other class, it is about what you make it. Of course, I'm not talking about just putting on Yearning set and running around, but about actually supporting your party and raid to the best of your ability. The misconception about supports exists because the requirements for supports, both gearing and skill-wise, are so much lower than that of DPS players. So a large part of supports don't even try to improve because why should they? It doesn't matter, they will get into groups anyway, right? So of course it will make you sleep if you don't even try. In my opinion, supporting on a high level can be incredibly rewarding when you actually try to do your best. A great support massively gaps all DPS players in terms of raid damage contribution, as well as providing other valuable utility. If you are new to playing support, don't be scared because I say that it is challenging. Getting started is actually pretty easy, and this is supporting 1-1 after all. If you're used to playing a healer in other games, please try to keep your mind open for this video. Although healing is an important part of your kit as a support, your most important contribution to the raid is damage buffs in the form of Yearning set, brand or marking skills, attack buffs, and identity buffs. All of these will make the boss phase quicker, which will make you see less patterns, which means that your teammates will take less damage, and in the end you will clear the raid quicker. So let's start with your damage buffs. The Yearning set activates whenever you hit an enemy, and will stay active the entire fight as long as you keep targeting the boss with your skills. At level 3, the circle around you will give your teammates a 12% damage increase, as well as a 12% increase in attack and movement speed for 16 seconds, making it the most valuable buff in your kit. While you usually don't have to think about this buff, because your DPSs should never be outside of it for 15 seconds straight, there are a few instances where you can optimize your Yearning uptime. At the start of the fight, all damage dealers have all of their skills up cooldown and will start to pump immediately. Dodge towards the boss, hit it with a brand or an attack buff skill, and make sure that all of your 3 teammates get the dexterity and the swiftness buffs from your Yearning set. Another time where you actually have to think about your Yearning uptime is in fights with large bosses, like in Belshazzar Gate 3 or Voldis Gate 2. Especially if you have both front and back attackers, or even a ranged hitmaster class in your party. Chances are that people will lose the Yearning buff during the fight. So, you can try running around and making them all get in your circle every 15 seconds. Or, alternatively, you can tell them, I will stick to the butt for this gate, or I'll stick to the front if there's a lot of back or front attackers. It's easier for them to come to you than it is for you to run around to all 3 of the DPS players 24/7. The third and final instance where you have to consider your Yearning uptime is after damage reductions. This is very similar to the start of the fight. Everyone will start pumping damage as soon as the boss is targetable, so try to get that Yearning buff going as soon as possible, before any shields or any other abilities that don't hit the boss. Just hit the boss with your marking or your attack buff. Branding skills are different from class to class, but they all do the same thing, boosting all damage the boss receives from your party by 10%. That is massive. That is a dark nade on the boss, 24/7 if you manage to keep it up. As you don't have to think so much about the Yearning set, this will be the highest priority during raids. Get in the habit of always prioritizing your brand skill and spam it off cooldown, whether it's Paladin Slide Shock or Swords of Justice, Artists Drawing Orchids, or Bards Sonatina, Harp, or Soundshock. All supports have 2 skills that give a 15% attack buff to teammates for a certain amount of time. Paladins have Wrath of God and Heavenly Blessings, Artists have Sun Sketch and Sunwell, and Bards have Heavenly Tune and Sonic Vibration. These do not stack with each other, so the key here is to alternate between your 2 attack buffs. Keep an eye on the small sword symbol on your buff bar, and press your next attack buff as the previous one runs out. Lastly, there is the identity. This one is very different from class to class, and is used to both heal and or damage buff. If you play paladin, just press your X whenever it is up, it's that simple. Artists and bards have some more decision making to do here. I think the key is to feel your party out. As an artist or a bard, I would default to damage buffs and drop a heal every now and then if people are really low. And this also sends us straight into the next part, shielding. High uptime on shields results in less need for healing. As a paladin, you would spam your holy protection for shields and heals, if you don't expect to need it for cleanse in the near future. Your God's Decree should also usually be spammed, as this shield gives you identity meter. When you hit an enemy with it, you would usually target both the boss and your teammates. The same goes for artists Hopper and Starry Night. There is a huge learning curve in knowing what and when to shield, and this you will just have to learn over time. Playing a DPS class and experiencing what you would have wanted your support to shield is also a great help in learning how to play your support. For this last section, I will only talk as a paladin and artist gamer. All I have to say about bard is stagger. Paladins and artists should all run vital pointed, no questions asked. Under no circumstance should you run heavy armor, drops of ether, spirit absorption, or any other engraving over vital pointed. The raids and dungeons in this game are full of stagger checks, and running vital point hit or not is far too often the difference between a wipe and a clear. It also allows you to bring Darknade instead of Whirlwind for more damage. This is far more important than that one crit orb that Deathblade picked up to still not crit his search. Counters. Hold your counter skill for counter patterns or mechs. As a support, you have the freedom to stay close to the boss's front and to pay attention to the counter tells. Hitting counters creates great damage opportunities for the damage dealers, and sometimes prevents the boss from doing high damage patterns like in Akan Gate 3. Everybody loves a support that keeps hitting counters. So, to sum it up, spam your brand skill off cooldown. Alternate your attack buffs. Default to using your identity for damage buffs and heal if multiple people are low. Run vital point hit. Study boss patterns and try to go for counters. Alright, that is it for this video. This is definitely not an end-all be-all support guide, but I hope it was helpful still. Please do leave a comment if you think of something that I failed to include. Also, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you feel like this helped you at all, or if you just want to see more Lost Ark content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.